Welcome guys, it's Jack here from Gingerbets and welcome to the Gingerbets Golf Betting Insights weekly YouTube show, where this week I'm previewing the last full field event of the 2022 calendar year. It's the RSM Classic taking place in Georgia. Who will lift that trophy come Sunday evening? Well, in the next 10 minutes, I'm going to be breaking down the course. I'm going to be having a look at the key skill sets required. I'm going to be bringing you those all-important outright selections, of which this week I've got 4 of them. So stay tuned, ranging from 25 to 1 all the way up to 70 to 1. Those coming your way in the next 10 minutes. If you're not yet signed up to the Gingerbets Golf Betting Insights newsletter, then you're missing out. This is one well-researched newsletter direct to your inbox each and every week. It's going to save you time, it's going to make you more informed, and it's pointing you in the direction of plenty of winners. Just as recent as last week, we had a full place payout, 80 to 1, Alex Smalley. He was available at 80 to 1 on the Tuesday when the newsletter went out, and he got a full place payout at 16 to 1. In addition to that, he was in the top 20 selections at 11 to 4, where he got over the line. There's so much more information in the newsletter than I can bring you in these short videos, so go and check it out. Less than a minute to sign up. I'm sure it will be a good addition to your golf weekly content intake, so go check it out straight after this short video. But in this video, I promise you a breakdown of the course, those key skill sets, and those all-important outright selections. Let's get to it. Well, the course, or should I say courses this week, we've got a par 70, the Seaside course at the Sea Island Resort, and we've got a par 72, the Plantation course. Seaside course, obviously a bit more exposed, built on the coastal part of the land, and therefore exposed to the elements and the wind. The Plantation course, slightly more inland and longer in distance, only a little. Both of these courses are super short by PGA Tour standards, circa 7,050 yards from the tips, give or take 50 or 100 yards depending on the setup. So these courses are there for the taking for all the players. Expect players to go low, like they have in recent times on the whole of the fall season, other than last week. If we take out Tony Finau, that was a proper test of golf last week at the Houston Open. This week, though, we're back to birdies, more birdies, and a few eagles thrown in as well. The greens this week will be Bermuda grass putting surfaces. They are difficult to read and not the easiest to put on, so look for solid putters when building your portfolio. We'll come on to this in the skill sets required section, but that's going to be a key attribute, and it's one of the main defenses of the course, along with the wind. Let's get into those key skill sets that are going to be required this week then. Well, first off, it's going to be tee to green performance. It's the foundation of my research most weeks, and it'll be no different this week. That'll be the start of my research. I want players that arrive here in decent form, showing me that every club in the bag is firing. I then want to look at driving accuracy. It's really important this week that we play from the fairways. This is a technical layout where you've got to play to the right spots in order to attack the pin positions. Small greens here at the Sea Island Resort, and it's a technical track, so therefore we want players that hit a high percentage of fairways, should I say. I was going to say greens. That leads me on to it though. Greening regulations gained is going to be a key stat this week. You're going to have to hit plenty of greens, 70-75%, in order to take home that trophy come Sunday evening. So look for players that are dialed in. Then I want to look at proximity to the hole from 100 to 150 yards. We've got loads of holes this week, and we're going to come on to it because it's the next key skill set. We've got loads of par 4s this week in a range of 400 to 450 yards, which means on average we're going to have approach shots from 100 to 150 yards, more so than the standard PGA Tour event. So I want players on side that are excelling with their wedges, their pitching wedges and 9-irons. They're the shots that are going to make and break the scoring this week for all the players. So pay particular attention to players with short iron in hand. What are their stats looking like over recent times and their long-term form? And another key skill set will be the par 4s from 400 to 450 yards. There's 9 of them on the Sea Island Seaside course this week. That means 27 holes will be played over that distance. So I want players on side that have shown me that they can dominate those short par 4s time and time again. And last but certainly not least, strokes gained putting on the Bermuda grass putting surfaces. That's the surface that the players face this week. Let's get in now to those all-important outright selections. Who's going to lift that trophy? Well, let's hope it's one of these four players. Those of you that tuned into the newsletter last week will have landed on Alex Smalley, 80-1. He's in the outsiders to consider section last week. I don't touch upon these in the video, so that is more the reason to go and register your email address on the Gingerbets newsletter. All the details in the description box below, and it's going to give you way more information to narrow down your golf picks. It's going to save you time in doing research. It's going to make you more informed overall when looking at this event, and it's going to point you in the direction of winners. Don't just take my word for it. Go and check it out. All the historic results are there for you to cast an eye over. Headlining for me then this week, I'm going to have to leave Big T alone at the top of the board, or I believe 10-1 what he opened up is a fair price. But for him to go back-to-back will be a huge ask, although he has done it already earlier this year. But starting off the portfolio for me this week will be Brian Harmon, 25-1 UK, 20-1 BetMGM. Let me tell you why. Well, he's got two top 10 finishes at the track previously. He's got 3 top 10s in his last 9 starts worldwide. His iron plays remain solid throughout the course of the season. He's gained strokes with iron in hand in each of his last 6 events. He's gained strokes tee to green in his last 6 events. And he's one of the best putters in this field. He enjoys the Bermuda grass grain. He will headline the portfolio for me. 25-1. Brian Harmon's the man to beat at the top of the board. Second selection of the week, well, this is a player who's been in stellar form of recent weeks. He's got 3 top 10 finishes in his last 4 events worldwide. Matthew Naismith will be my second selection of the week. 40-1 in the UK, 50-1 with Betfred, 7 places available, 50-1 BetMGM. Let me quickly tell you the reasons why. Well, he's ranked 6th in approach play over the last 50 rounds on tour. He's ranked 2nd in green in regulations gained over the last 50 rounds on tour. And we know that these are going to be key attributes this week in determining success. In addition to that, though, his irons are dialed in. This is an absolute killer stat. He's ranked 4th in proximity to the hole from 100 to 150 yards. So his short irons are dialed in. He's hitting plenty of greens. His approach play in general is on fire. What's not to like about his chances? 3 top 10s in his last 4 events. Matthew Naismith, he is worth a speculative bet at 50-1 for me. Third selection of the week, a man that's shown a bit of form recently. He's had an awful 2022 and 2021, should I say. For the last 24 months, he's been in the door, or been really struggling, I would think, by his standards. But I'm willing to give him a go this week on a technical layout that should suit his patience. The fact that he can shape the ball both ways, off the tee and with iron in hand. I believe that this will be a real test, or test that really suits his game. Third selection of the week will be Justin Rose, 50-1 in the UK, 40-1 BetMGM. Let me just tell you a few reasons behind the selection. Well, he arrives here off the back of a top 10 last week. He was 12th here last year on only his 2nd start of this event. At this event last year, he gained strokes across all the key skill set areas. That was off the tee, approach play around the greens, and with the flat stick, which shows that he's got a general liking for the course. He's ranked in the top 20 for approach play over the last 50 rounds on tour. He's ranked in the top 20 for par 4 scoring over the last 50 rounds on that 400 to 450 yards key distance. So despite being out of form for the past 24 months, there's been some signs of life in the last few weeks, and the fact that he's 50-1 in a field that isn't that stellar, I'm prepared to give him a chance. And the fourth and final selection of the week is a player that was available at 90-1 when the markets first opened, but that's been snapped up. He's now 70-1 Betfred. Unfortunately, 40-1 in the USA, and that is JJ Spawn. He will be the fourth selection of the week. Let me quickly tell you why. Well, he was 2nd here in 2017. He's a player that should relish the short and technical layout that he faces this week. He's ranked in the top 10 for green in regulations gained over the last 50 rounds on tour. He's in the top 10 for for par 4 scoring on holes of 400 to 450 yards, of which we've got 27 if he makes the cut this week for him to go to war against. And then he's in the top 10 for proximity to the hole from 125 to 150 yards, where he's going to play a high majority of shots from this week. He also puts well on the Bermuda grass putting surfaces. At 90 to 1 he was a must bet, at 70 to 1 he's a must bet, and those of you that can only get 66 to 1 with Unibet, I suggest that he is a must bet there too. He will be the fourth and final selection for the week. So to round out the portfolio, or to recap should I say, we've got Brian Harmon 25 to 1, Matthew Naismith 40 to 1, Dustin Rose 40 to 1, 50 to 1 depending on where you are in the world, and JJ Spawn 70 to 1 in the UK. They're my 4 to go to war with. I've also got 3 big outsiders to consider, or outsiders for you to consider, available in the newsletter. So go check it out straight after this video. All the details in the description box below. Good luck with your selections, and I'll be back in a few weeks' time for the Hero World Challenge.